Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Four Bears podcast. Joined with me, as always, we have Brant, we have Jake, and we've got Primy. Today, I think we should start with Jake's big hit of last week. Dude cashed in. Jake, you want to tell us a little more about the thought process and what you're going to do with your winnings?
Oh man, if those of you that didn't watch the last pod, we ended with the Four Bears parlay slash hits of the week. I bet plus 310 on Rory to win the Scottish Open, and he did. He got the job done with a birdie on 18 to seal the deal. Um, Plans for the money? We're gonna invest it in Four Bears Sports because that's what we do around here.
Let's
Man of
go,
the brand
baby.
right there.
Represent. Speaking of representing, we are now ambassadors of Shankit Golf. Please use code 4BearsSports on shankitgolf.com to get 10% off your next purchase.
Yeah, quality polos. So their hats, they got nice hats too.
Also, in some big news, got a great comment on the last pod from my mom about how great the pod was, and I think we can officially say, gentlemen, that moms love the Four Bears podcast.
I know
Oh, they
my
do.
mom does. That's for sure.
Moms love the Four Bears, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, my mom watched the whole episode. She just wants more. We got to keep pumping out the content.
What a
All
goat!
moms love it.
What a goat!
Okay, we are going to start with the favorites to win the Open. We have Scotty Scheffler at plus 650, Rory at plus 700, John Rahm plus 1200, Cam Smith 1800, and I'm sure you guys can find the odds for everyone else. Boys, who are we picking this week? Who are we picking to win the Open?
I'm gonna say this, and I don't know if everyone's gonna agree. I don't know why. I just love Brooks Koepka. I love his swag. I love Brooks Koepka. I know it's kind of controversial, especially with the whole live thing, but
Kinda.
I'm
I
kind of
think
very.
Extremely.
When
I
he went with
know,
the
but
frosted tips, I think you should do that too, Primy. I think you could pull off the frosted tips.
Man was a menace with Frosted
I just
Tips.
know I'm gonna look back and say, why didn't I have frosted tips?
That's
Because
It
you
may
weren't
look
born in a
common theme.
2000s boy band.
But I could have been.
It may have to do with the quantity of hair on that head of yours.
No. Couldn't be that. Couldn't be
Oh.
that. Not on
Oh
the show.
no, frosted
Not-
beard,
Frosted
frosted
beard.
tip beard.
Maybe we do a frosted beard episode. Who says
Ah.
no?
First IRL podcast for giving Primy Frosted Tips on the beard.
It might have to happen. Grow it. I just shaved it. Maybe grow it out a little bit.
I think that would look perfect. It would show your full support in Brooks Koepka, not just your support, your confidence in the man.
My solidarity. I stand with Kepka.
I
Maybe I'll
love
make
it.
a shirt.
I love
I
it.
stand with Kepka.
Brant, you got a pick?
Who's your favorite big dog?
Well, I'm not the most avid of golf watchers, but I'm feeling a little bit of a nice round from Jordan Spieth here. I think the guy's going to bring it back and steal the Open.
A huge dub for that program.
Yeah.
It would be.
Yes, it would. He's ever just watched the videos of him criticizing himself mid-shot?
It's so relatable. I mean, if you golf at all, you should be a Jordan Spieth, Jordan
Dude, it's
Spieth
great.
fan, because
He's just terrible. Just terrible.
there's
He'll
some
take a message.
choice
He's like,
words.
stupid. That was stupid.
He is a legend, and he's so relatable. It's awesome. A solid pick. I feel like it's only right that we keep Jake for last after hitting last week. You guys can skip ahead to that part of the video if you want to hear Jake's next pick. But for me, I'm gonna go with Cam Smith. I think Cam is gonna put on a great performance.
Also highly controversial.
I think he's gonna be sticking to fairways. getting that GIR and hitting putts.
Furs
all
and gurs,
weekend.
baby. Furs and
The
gurs.
Aussie Menace.
And now, everyone's the pick streak is on the line right now of 1.
He's been hot.
He is the
It's
hottest
been
bear,
hot.
literally and figuratively, because also Jake is going through. He's sick right now, and I want to say up there with the Jordan flu game. Has to be.
I agree. He's playing injured. You know, he should. Coaches were telling him to go to the IL, but you know what he said? He said, "No, coach, I got it. I got it."
As long as he doesn't Paul Pierce and pull out the wheelchair, we'll be good.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go Rory back to back.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, his
It's
major
hot.
That
his,
confident.
his major drought is gonna come to an end, and I think he might win it by a handful. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Sense a little bit of
Wow.
a Rory takeover.
Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
I like it. I like it. I definitely can't disagree with it. As you know, my hit last week was the biggest flop of the week, so don't listen to me. Well, anyway, moving on. We have the NFL running back robbery. Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, not getting those contract extensions. No franchise tag. What do we think happens in those two situations, gentlemen?
I think it's crazy to me that I'll let Brant wait on the Josh Jacobs as the Raiders fan, but for Saquon, especially after last season, he did so much for that. He did everything for that team at points. It was like Saquon versus the world. And if you go back to prime Saquon straight out of the draft, I mean, he was the best running back in football for at least probably 2 years, or one of at least. Yes, he's been injured and they've had down years. He plays for the Giants, but I mean, we're talking about a great running back that is just like not even getting looked. It's crazy to me.
It's disgusting. I mean, Saquon Barkley was the team's offense every single year. He was the guy you could rely on. You know, when he was hurt, they were terrible, miserably bad. It's insane to me that you can't get Saquon more than $10 million a year, which is what the franchise tag is worth right now. You can't get that guy $10 million a year, but you can pay Daniel Jones $40 million a year. That does not make sense to me at all. And the Raiders side of things, Josh Jacobs, you're paying Jacoby Myers $11 million a year, but you can't get Josh Jacobs 12. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. You know,
Pro
I
Bowl
think
running back too. He's good.
yeah, one of the best in the league. You know, the Tony Pollard thing makes sense. Guy signed his franchise tag. He's had one good year. You know, he's never been the premier back because he's had Zeke there at all times to take a little bit of the pressure off, and he is coming off of a broken fibula. So that guy makes sense to me. You know, I wouldn't see a long deal getting done for him unless he has a great year this year while being the lead back. But Josh Jacobs and Saquon, those guys should be signed to a nice contract by now. And I just don't understand why. Like, look at Dalvin Cook. That guy just got released after having 1,000-yard season after 1,000-yard season and having great breakaway speed. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, and the NFL is really just killing the running back position right now.
Who needs a running back more right now, the Raiders or the Giants?
I mean, they both their guys are franchise tagged. The hope is that they both get out there on the field next season. Hopefully, they get extensions done. But man, I would say the Giants because
I would say
Daniel
too.
Jones, as great as his ability can be, he's so inconsistent that he just needs a solid running game. You know, when you look at the Raiders, they'll find a way to get Devontae Adams the ball. They'll find a way to get Hunter Renfrow the ball. They've got Michael Mayer now. You know, Zamir White was drafted last year and looked solid in the few plays he got to play. Because, it's hard to get on the field when you have Josh Jacobs in front of you. So I would say the Giants are definitely in more need of a running back right now.
I agree. Jake?
What blows my mind is there are kickers making more than NFL running backs. Regardless of who it is. I mean, we've got a list over here.
Well, that's not necessarily true because Kareem Hunt's still a free agent. So
Yeah, we gotta wait and see what he makes.
He'll inflate the kicker numbers quite a bit, huh?
Yeah, no, I think a lot of it has to do with I want to call it the Sean McVay effect, where they see what he did and they see the success he had and they say, okay, well, he didn't pay a running back. You think of Todd Gurley, yeah, Todd Gurley's great, and yes, he's not even in the league anymore, and he had arthritis and injuries too, but like he's not willing to pay running backs. He's made it very clear from the beginning he's not willing to pay running backs, and so
Not since Todd Gurley.
so I think the league just kind of saw that and he's like, well, I mean, they won a Super Bowl after doing that. But there's got to be a success plan in there somewhere, and it's just been so devalued, especially since Mahomes and the air raid style. Not just Mahomes, but that's what comes to mind nowadays. And so pass heavy league that if you can't catch out of the backfield and be that McCaffrey type back, you're just not valued at all. And even when you can, because Saquon can do that, if you're not doing it at a McCaffrey level, being a 500 plus receiving yards and 1,000-yard rusher, which is an anomaly, then they don't care. Teams don't care anymore.
everybody got that memo besides the Packers, who are willing to pay 2 running backs at the moment, and I've seen the same success rate for the last 10 years. So, 10 years plus. So,
You guys are in the 1970s offense. I love it.
It'll
Jordan
be
Love.
worse this year without Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, yeah.
Jordan Love,
Ooh,
baby.
Jordan Love could be a little bit more mobile. It could open the game up for him. But, Rodgers is getting old. He can't run around as much. You don't want him getting hit as much.
Yeah.
So,
I was
there's
always
a chance
terrified.
they open up the playbook a little
They
bit.
might. I was always terrified every time I saw Rodgers get hit. I mean, you saw
I loved
with the
it.
Bears a couple years ago, he got rolled up on.
Yeah, and then he came back in the game in the fourth quarter and won.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's whatever.
You
I'm not
sound
mad about it.
salty. You sound salty,
No,
Nate.
no, I'm not mad about it. It's like whatever. But
It's like whatever.
I can't wait for
Ooh.
Jordan Love to pull out the title belt against the Bears. Aaron Rodgers
dude,
may
did
have
you
left,
see his tweet though?
but we still own you.
He tweeted. I can't remember what he tweeted, but he said something to the effect of, he tried to trash talk on Twitter and it just backfired on him so bad because he worded it wrong. And I was like, oh, that's a bad look for you. You can't be doing that right now. Oh, buddy. It was funny.
Yeah, losing trash talk on Twitter compared to losing football games, I know which one I'd pick.
He's never beaten the Bears, so
Little
He's
fun
been on
fact.
the team for a while.
little fun fact we do have to bring up here. I can't remember the last time an NFL champion had a running back that they paid on a large contract. And I don't think there has been one in probably 20 years. I think they've all been on pretty cheap bargaining deals.
Would it be the Seahawks? How much was Marshawn making?
yeah, maybe the tail end of Marshawn.
I don't know if he was.
He probably wasn't on his.
Yeah,
It wasn't
I
a
don't
No,
know.
because he was on the
Crazy
Bills
amount.
first. But he probably wasn't making stupid money.
Probably not at that
I
point.
don't
That was
think he
towards the end
was.
of his career, wasn't it?
No, not their champion. Their championship was at the beginning or middle of his career.
Billish.
After
Yeah,
he
it's
changed
in
the
the
At
middle.
middle.
the time, he was making a smooth 7 million, 4 million the year before, 7 million, 6
Ugh.
million. At that time, that's decent money for a running back,
Yeah.
That's like
but that's not like a top contract,
hmm
So
Yeah, I don't know then. I feel like that was a pretty safe bet, and it does not show. I guess. Go ahead. You're good.
We got a list of who else we got on here. So Austin Eckler,
Yep.
no trade and still not extended, and he was great, has been great, good fantasy running back. Who else do we got? Leonard Fournette, Zeke, Kareem Hunt, James Robinson, Kenyon Drake.
I think.
These are great
lot of
running
guys.
backs.
Yeah, I think to Nick's point, being able to catch out of the backfield, Leonard Fournette might be in trouble. He's more of a third down goal line back, and
well,
To
he's
an
made
extent-
a lot of bread to it, though.
I know, I understand, but he's not a top speed
Mhm.
level
No.
back.
He's gonna mow you down.
He's a run
feel
you
like-
over AJ Dillon, but I mean, I can't even compare him to A.J. Dillon because A.J. Dillon can move. He catches
Yes,
he
yeah.
catches plenty of passes out of the backfield, but he also has the ability to run you over. He's kind of a hybrid back.
Little tidbit on Fournette. He's actually had very up and down seasons, but I mean, he's got a season with 76 catches, 69 catches, 73 catches for decent yardage. I mean, the guy made his bread and butter out of getting good runs and then catching the ball and getting nice chunk plays out of it. Now, it was Tom Brady, who, as we know, is the king of checkdowns, king of finding the right player to get the ball to. He's the king of football.
Football. Yep.
Remember in the Falcons Super Bowl, he did get James White the ball. I think it was 11 or 12 times. It was the most catches by a running back, and it might have been the most catches in Super Bowl history. I believe it was, wasn't it? So, I mean,
so.
a guy like Leonard Fournette, there is some concern with his conditioning, with his ability to stay on the field and not cause drama. Just look at his time in Jacksonville. But I mean, there's still too many decent guys available. There's still too many good players available. I'm just the value of the running backs, like Eckler, for instance. They've been talking about, oh, we want to trade Eckler. Well, they never got it done because they wanted so much for him. If you want so much value for that guy, clearly he's worth a contract extension, is he not? If you think he's that valuable, surely he's worth, the money that you're trying to accrue draft picks for. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But
Yeah, especially being it's a two-back league. For most teams, it's a two-back league. If most good teams, you're gonna have a third down back, first, second down back, and a lot of them can be interchangeable. I don't know why. Like, I'm a Bears fan. I would love to have any of the guys on this list just to give us experience depth, if nothing else. A guy that you can look at and say, I know he's done it. I know he can do it. He's been a pro. There's what, 5 Pro Bowlers, at least 5 Pro Bowl running backs that are available right now, or Pro Bowl caliber running backs that they still got juice in the tank. It's not like they're 35. They're not even 30 yet. They're trying to get a second. Half of them are trying to get a second contract. I just don't get the devalue of the position when it's still such an important part of the game.
Yep.
So-
I mean, look at the 4 running backs you had in each respective conference's championships last year. You've got Mixon, who was making $12 million a year. Is one of the highest paid running backs in the NFL. In fact, per average salary, he's 4th. That guy's making plenty of money. Miles Sanders just got a huge payday, which, last year he wasn't on as big of a contract. Pacheco was a rookie that is going to end up getting paid by somebody if he continues to play the way that he did down the stretch last season. And then McCaffrey, who is the highest paid running back,
And rightfully so.
Yeah, so you've got 2 teams that rookie running backs or younger running backs not making a lot of money, and then you've got 2 teams that made it there with highly paid running backs. Some people make the argument, well, the 2 teams with the rookie running backs are the ones that made it through, the younger running backs, the cheaper deals. But San Fran had no quarterback in play because every quarterback on the roster was hurt. And
Josh Johnson.
boy, oh boy, the Bengals thing. Yeah, Josh Johnson. Whew, going crazy there. And then the Bengals thing. I mean, there was some very, very suspect decisions by the refs there. Not to mention the second, third down after the ball had been punted.
I'll never live that down.
Like, what was that?
That is just wrong.
Oh my goodness! But there's got to be some sort of way that you can be successful with running backs. I refuse to believe that these running backs are just never going to get paid because they're not good enough. It's just ridiculous.
So what does it look like? Do we think that they're going to? What do those contracts look like?
So the Josh Jacobs thing, they were close to a deal before the end of the deadline to extend him. So there's a chance that early on next season they get a deal on paper and they get it agreed upon. The Saquon thing, I haven't heard any sort of update on right now. Either way, as of right now, it looks like neither of them are going to participate in training camp until probably the week before the season starts. Because they're not going to get fined for skipping training camp. It's a franchise tag. They're going to get fine if they skip games. If they skip a week here or there in the season, which I don't think either of them will do. But I don't see the Jacobs thing. I can only hope a deal gets done. Saquon, they might move on from him. He does have the history of injuries. He can't stay on the field. When he is on the field, he's electric. But I don't see a deal getting done anytime soon.
Feel like teams sit there and they see the running back market currently, and feel like that's why these guys are so expendable to them, because they're like, oh, can't give Saquon the money we want to give him. Looks like Dalvin Cook and Leonard Fournette are looking for deals right now. They might take cheaper. Who knows? I feel like running backs come a dime a dozen is how teams view them. And I don't necessarily agree with it, but that's how the NFL is trending. So,
What do you guys think about? I saw this when people were talking about restructuring the Mahomes contract. Instead of giving a set amount of money, I don't know the logistics behind it. I'm just curious what you guys think. Instead of saying, okay, you're going to get a 10-year, $500 million, say, we're going to give you 20% of the salary cap for 8 years. Or I'm going to give you 8% of the salary cap for 8 years. So doing it salary cap wise instead of monetary wise. I almost wonder if they could do that with running backs to a point where they're like, okay, or maybe it has to be, I don't want to say enforced because you can't force teams to sign people realistically, but I think I think it's a cool idea. Something along those lines. What do you guys think?
I believe. I have the numbers pulled up right here. Like Mahomes this year will be making 18% of the team's salary cap. The next two quarterbacks that take up the highest percentage of their team's salary cap is Ryan Tannehill and Jared Goff. So a lot of that, the percentage of the salary cap depends on a lot with where the team is at that point in time. Mahomes' contract is designed to slowly scale up more and more from year 1 to year 10, because obviously the team salary cap is going to go up year by year. So they're just trying to keep him at a nice solid number where they can still build around him comfortably. Like next year, next year you've got Deshaun Watson making 27% of his team salary cap, and that's ridiculous. And then you've got Dak Prescott 25%, Kyler 22%, Stafford 21%. There's a lot of guys that are making large percentages of their team salary cap, and their team, quite frankly, wasn't very successful. When you look at running backs, the highest 3 running backs are Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, and Joe Mixon. They're making 7%, 6%, and 6%. Every other running back is 4% or less. It's just not a valued position, whereas your top receivers are making between 10 and 6% of the salary cap. It's just, for whatever reason, running backs is just not an important thing. And I think part of that is because you can draft young guys, keep them on those rookie contracts for 4 or 5 years, run them till they're dog tired, and kick them to the curb. And I think that needs to be fixed, because sooner or later you're just going to have to find a way to remove the running back position from the game at that point, because there's going to be players that just don't want to do that because there's no value to it. It's heartbreaking for the running backs that do work their butt off and play their ass off, quite frankly. And now we're going to move on to D-Hop. And why did D-Hop go to the Titans? Why of all teams did he go to the Titans?
Get your receptions, that's why.
I feel like the Patriots made a whole lot more sense than what the Titans did for him. But
I think any team made more sense.
That's tough. So obviously, I was gonna ask, would D-Hop contender or pretender? A pretender. They are not. I don't even know if this might add a win to their record books. I still think they're borderline playoff team.
I agree. The big thing for me right now is they got 3 quarterbacks they don't know who to choose between right now. Like,
They're all
If you,
equally
it's
bad.
like the whole thing. If you got 2 quarterbacks, you got no quarterbacks. Well, they got 3 quarterbacks. They gotta figure that out. And I mean, they'll always have a decent defense, but yeah, I
Especially in
agree.
that division. It's easy to have a decent defense in that division.
True.
I think the Titans is the worst place he could have gone. Respectfully, it's gonna look good numbers wise because him and Traylon Burks are the only receivers to throw to. You know, you have a Keen Westbrook there too, who's a solid player, had decent games last year when guys were out. But who's throwing you the ball? Tannehill's proven that he can't throw you the ball under almost any circumstance.
I think Will
And
Levis is the
definitely
answer.
not consistently. Is he though? You're talking about the guy that went from maybe he's a top 5 pick, maybe he's the first overall pick to the guy fell out of the first round. There's clearly something wrong with him. There's clearly something that NFL teams did not feel comfortable with. And then what are you gonna go to Malik Willis? We saw how that experience went. It was not good. Yeah. I don't know who's gonna throw D Hop the ball. He essentially put himself in the same position he was in when he was with the Texans. He's got Ryan Mallett and Brock Osweiler throwing him the ball. I mean, what are we doing?
I see Will Levis as like a Bo Callahan from the movie Draft Day. Somebody passed on him and everybody got scared.
Maybe.
Maybe there is something wrong. We'll find out, I guess.
To be fair, isn't this the kid that puts mayo in his coffee?
Yeah, that is the one.
That's so
yeah.
bogus.
Man,
Who does that?
There's
I
something
mean, he
wrong
also
with
eats
him.
the bananas, like he eats the peel of the banana while he's eating the banana.
Dude.
You think he
There's
does
some-
it like for me?
there's
You think he does
something
it
wrong
like? Do you think he
there.
means it? I don't know if he actually like means it. He just trying to. Be weird.
Come on.
Either that or this just promotes protection for NFL players because he's might have a screw loose up there. That's not good.
Yeah, we gotta study his brain, see what's going on up there.
You know what's funny is the person that won from his draft day shenanigans the most is actually his girlfriend. She's got to deal with Burger King now and everything. She's famous on TikTok, famous on Instagram. It was huge for her.
Good for her.
She's
Get your
making more
bag.
money than he is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, too funny.
Just D Hop could have gone to so many different teams. I mean, why the Titans, man? Especially when he sat there and talked about he wanted a stable franchise. Who this one just got rid of their GM literally a year ago. He wanted a good, solid quarterback. Ryan Tannehill is not that at all, and he wanted to be on a contender with a good defense. He's got the good defense, but they are not a contender at all. That is the Jags division, and maybe Anthony Richardson or Stroud do something. But it's definitely not the Titans division under any circumstance.
You start to wonder, like, was he just not getting offers? And this was kind of like, I mean, a panic. I may not get signed unless I take this deal.
I heard
And-
the Patriots were offered him close to the same amount of money. It was more everything was more incentive based than actual guaranteed money. So
And that's not much of a improvement from the Titans. They're kind of in the same boat. Granted, you have
Feel
Bill
like-
Belichick, but their
Hall
offense
of Fame
stinks too.
coach. They've won championships. Belichick has. He kind of reminds me of Palpatine. You know, dude doesn't die. The dude will not die, and not like, as in, actually pass away, but more in from a football point. He is not going to go away. He just keeps coming back, and I believe that Patriots within the next 3 years will be a playoff team again.
That was the best metaphor I think I've heard in a long time.
Palpatine,
Yeah.
when he puts the hood up too, I think it just completes it.
Do we see the Patriots making it to the playoffs with Mac Jones? Or will it be somebody else?
They did it once. They did it once.
It
There
depends
was
how bad their
so much
division is.
Super
I
Bowl
think.
contender, though, with Mac Jones?
No, never.
I don't think so either.
He would have to have incredible growth. You're talking about. In fairness to him, last year, you had just an absolute crap show of whatever the hell was going on by joint offensive coordinators, and obviously that didn't work. There's a reason they're both gone now. But it's just he had a good rookie year. People overreacted. Said, "Oh, he's the next Tom Brady." There's a
He
lot of
didn't even
pressure
have
there.
that good of a rookie year either. He had like
No,
an
he didn't. He had like
okay
a
rookie
really
year.
solid year.
Yeah, it's
That was
pretty,
it.
Yeah.
pretty mediocre.
Pretty mid.
But
It was mid.
I don't see them ever being a serious Super Bowl contender with Mac Jones. Maybe he gets way better. Maybe they get him a better receiving core, but I don't see it happening.
They
Think-
drafted Tom Brady into him.
You need to sign Dalvin Cook. I think that would help them a lot.
I like that actually.
That would also mean like Bill Belichick will have to stick with a running back for a whole season, which will that ever happen? Who knows?
Who knows?
Respectfully, that's Ramondre Stevenson's backfield. That guy's a monster.
I agree.
It should be. It should be, but
It's just not Bill's MO.
yeah, they'll have 4.
And I don't think Dalvin goes anywhere where he doesn't get paid at least $8 or $9 million. I think he's gonna get the best deal he can.
But who's gonna give him that?
Somebody's
Do the
got it.
Dolphins have money?
The Dolphins signed who did they sign? They signed 2 running backs, didn't they?
Signed
The
They-
2.
Dolphins have a pretty solid backfield. They've got
who's
Jeff
in
Wilson,
San?
Raheem Mostert,
Yeah, Jeff Wilson Jr. They signed
and
after
Miles Gaskin's still there too.
after they signed
Mhm.
after San Fran signed McCaffrey.
Mm-hmm.
Cardinals?
James Conner's already making too much money.
He's a
Cut
stud,
James.
too.
Cut James Conner. Who cares?
Had a
mean,
great
I
year
really
last year.
He did have a good year last year. I'll give you that.
He
What
vultured touchdowns. Great year is
I think
perspective.
Dalvin's gonna be forced to wait until a team has an injury. You know, for instance, look at Baltimore. If somebody like J.K. Dobbins goes down,
Again.
you pay Dalvin Cook $6 million a year to come in and take over for the year.
I
Show
would
what
if I'm
he's
a
really
contender.
capable of.
Oh yeah.
And Baltimore is definitely a contender,
For sure.
but I just don't. I know as a Bears fan, you would love to get him.
Oh, I would love nothing more than to sign Dow, especially after Montgomery goes to the Lions. Let's just swap around the NFC North running backs. Why not?
I'm gonna
So-
I'm gonna say the Packers are content with what we've got.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we have 2 that we don't know what to do with, so or we think we do. Okay, boys. Go ahead. You're good.
I was
I'm
like,
just
maybe
looking- I'm
one of them
looking-
can like gain 200 pounds and play D tackle for you or something if they can't get on the
Some
field.
Eddie Lacy type beat.
Eddie Lazy.
I'm looking at all these teams. I just don't see a place for these guys. I got to be honest. There's so many teams that have their starting running backs. The only like the Rams. The Rams could get a running back, but they've got young
Cool,
Cam
man.
Akers. Kieran Williams, Sony Michelle. The Rams are one of the places. If they have a good start, maybe they go after Dalvin Cook. But I don't see him getting signed before the beginning of the season, unless there's an injury somewhere.
Cam Akers biggest bust of last year.
Maybe.
He's becoming like from young
Well-
Cam Akers, he's slowly becoming old Cam Akers with all these injuries and coming back.
Mhm.
And when he was healthy, he was not very good.
Wasn't
Nah,
his old
he-
self,
He's
no.
had his moments. His Florida State career was much, much better than his Rams career has been. There's no doubt about that. But I mean, he did come back off of a major ACL injury. He came back for the playoffs when they won the Super Bowl and performed pretty well in the playoffs. It's where he's gotten a lot of love. It's where he got, it's what rose his draft stock for fantasy drafts last year. But he's got to figure something out because there was a point in time where he wanted traded and they couldn't even trade him. So
So we're going from NFL players who are not getting their money to a girl that is pure money. Sabrina Ionescu, 3-point champion. Not only champion, but broke the record for the NBA and WNBA. Let's talk about it. Let's dive in.
She
How many
missed-
was it again?
She missed 2 balls. 2.
It's a pretty
Not-
That's
spectacular
ridiculous.
performance.
That's crazy.
She is an amazing player, and I will give her credit. But the record to me stays with Bird. He didn't miss a ball. And he did it in a shooting shirt, and before the whole event started, he looked around and said, "Who's getting second?" Man's a legend. He is hockey as can be, but I truly believe, given the opportunity, he would have went perfect here too. But as of right now, Sabrina, she's the champion. She holds the record, but a little controversy there, in my opinion.
Nick, I sense a little bit of Celtic bias.
I feel like, it's tough. The man didn't miss a shot. She missed 2. She was given more opportunities. It's a debate for sure. It's a hypothetical. I'll never know the answer. To me, I feel like you might have to put a little asterisk on that.
Do we think Caitlin Clark could do that, Jake?
Caitlin Clark's not missing a ball, man.
Okay.
Hey,
Okay.
she gets
What?
that
You
hot
think
in
Ashley
game.
Jones is gonna outperform that? I don't think so.
Dude, she'll just win the dunk contest. Who cares?
Oh my god.
I mean the layup contest, sorry.
No. Oh no.
Oh no.
Dude, I'm the biggest
Oh.
WNBA fan on this roster. I'm the only one that had my favorite WNBA team listed.
Can
Did-
you remind me of those players on that roster that you named?
Yeah, what's
Dude,
that
there's-
team again?
There's a lot of them. There's like 13, 14 of them.
I mean,
you
I
get-
can name maybe 5 WNBA players. In fairness,
Sue Bird. That's all you need to know.
Bird.
Super.
dude, she's
Uh,
retired. That doesn't count.
She played.
Did you guys
Taurasi,
see?
Cambridge,
Did you guys
And
see
Brittany
Brittany Griner?
Griner.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you see her dunk?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she really slammed one home.
Last time she traveled like that, she didn't make it back to the country. So she
Okay,
needs to
alright.
watch out.
Wow.
Too true.
She needs to watch out.
Somebody might
Oh,
want to check their illegal substances.
Yeah. 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 Just not a real good decision maker. Very talented player, obviously, but gotta keep her in line. Gotta keep her in line. Moving on, we go from my personal controversy to actual controversy. Tennessee football program must vacate 11 wins from the 2019-2020 season.
that's crazy to me. I get it. I get it 100%. I get it 100%. I just the only thing that I'm like, it's almost like a who cares. You know, the season's over. Or, yeah, it's maybe a record book will be, or the coach is gonna. Oh, these wins are gone. But who cares? Like it's
They didn't win
it's in the
anything.
past.
They
Yeah.
didn't go on any run.
Mm.
Didn't do anything in the playoffs, anything postseason wise.
Remember, it is the Hendon Hooker years.
Yeah, I mean, the Vols record will be changed to show that they went 0-5 in 19 and 0-7 in 20, bringing Pruitt's final record with the Volunteers to 5-19.
I mean, again, it's not like he was there that he's gonna not qualify to be in the College Football Hall of Fame or something. Like it doesn't. It's almost like they're doing it only to show face that they're like, we're doing something about this. It really means something to us.
Right.
Does it?
I think it's just more of the same NCAA bullcrap where they take what they want because they feel it's just and fair. It's just like the Reggie Bush Heisman. Nobody cares what the NCAA thinks. Give the man his trophy back and let's move on.
Thank you. Give him his trophy.
I mean,
Goodness.
come on. Everybody knows that, like, First off, you've made it completely fine now. There's no issue with it now. Give the guy his trophy back. It's not like he used some performance enhancing drugs or something like that and cheated his way to it. He earned it. Fair and square. Give the man his trophy back. Just like as much as people want to say, oh, well, recruiting violations. Every single top school does it. I guarantee it.
It's just a matter of who
You know,
gets
you look
caught.
yeah, it's just I mean, look at the Harbaugh thing. Every time Harbaugh talks to any sort of guy that they're scouting, there's some big thing with it. You know, he bought a kid a burger and he got in trouble by the NCAA with it. Come on, man. What are we doing here?
How
It's just being way too stickler, you know?
how do teams get caught with this? Like we're talking 4 years, 5 years later, and somehow they're like, oh yeah, they went after these recruits, violated these rules 5 years ago.
Well,
Like-
A lot of the times it's coaches leaving. So like I know,
Yeah.
from my personal experience with it, it's this coach is leaving, he got fired, or it's an assistant strength coach that maybe he's got some dirt on the program and he was out for vengeance, and so he'll report it. Because as much as we don't want to admit it, everyone violates NCAA rules. It happens at every practice, at everything. Because there's rules that make no sense. Like you're only allowed to have 8 coaches on the field at any given point. Okay, you think Alabama doesn't have 50 coaches that are on the field at any given point? Right. Yeah, they're rocking with only 8 coaches. Okay, so that's technically an NCAA violation, and you get fined and stuff for it.
Yeah.
It's all about, most of the time in what I have seen and heard, it's coaches leaving and going to other programs.
either way, Jeremy Pruitt's an efficient coach, and he's won a lot. I mean, the guy's got 5 national championships. At one point, he won 3 straight, 2 with Alabama and 1 with Florida State as a defensive coordinator and defensive backs coach. And the guy's historically good. There's no doubt about it.
Mhm.
Okay, you know, he's been Alabama, Florida State, Georgia, Tennessee. Now he's with the Giants as a senior defensive assistant, or was at least last year. You know, the guy is great defensively.
Mhm.
He's got a great mind for the game. Head coaching just wasn't his thing, clearly. So at the end of the day, Tennessee's going to lose those wins officially, but everybody's going to remember the seasons.
Mhm.
It seems kind of ridiculous to me to. I mean, we're 3 and 4 years post these things happening, and they're getting an $8 million fine over 2 seasons where they didn't do anything. I mean, yes, it was a violation, also pre-NIL. So, with the new NIL rules that are in effect today, those things that happened then wouldn't
Should be
even
null
matter.
void.
It's pretty
It's
hypocritical.
irrelevant. So now they're getting an $8 million fine over 16 players that were deemed ineligible for recruiting violations. $8 million and stripping wins. For what? For what?
I want to know where they came up with the 8 million too. Like how did 8 million become the magic number? I don't get it.
It's whatever they pulled out of their butt.
I would have to
Literally.
assume it's based on how many violations, how severe they thought it was, and they just found a number that sounded right to them.
It's
I'm sure there's been some
obviously
past offenses that have had to pay out, but
it's probably got to be based on their, not necessarily their net wealth, but their revenue that they get, because you can't fine a Tulane $8 million. You know,
no.
like they're gone if you fine them $8 million. University's selling to become an amusement park if you fine them $8 million.
That's messed up to Tulane, man.
Oh, they're
Hey,
a
we love
great
Tulane. We
school,
love
but
them.
was
they're a
top
great
25.
school. They're a great school. It's just, you know, if they got in trouble like that and had to pay 8 mil, it'd be a lot different looking. The program would be gone.
Well, just
Thing.
like Dion when he was over there at Jacksonville. If
Yeah.
he'd have gotten in trouble there, they'd have been. I mean, they already couldn't afford to get him everything that he wanted there, let alone, you know, a fine like that. Which, by the way, how do we think Dion's gonna do at Colorado?
We burned
We'll
a
be
lot
there
of
for a
bridges
while.
already.
be there a while for his name. He won't have any real success. Maybe make some bowl
Wow.
games, but nothing crazy.
I think he'll have a lot of regular season success, but
Mhm.
with the way that the college football playoff is laid out currently, there's no real opportunity for Colorado to make any bang in the postseason.
You don't see them being able to beat USC and UCLA before they move on to the Big Ten.
No.
I mean, they've got an opportunity this year. He
They've-
brought most of the guys with him.
They've got a chance. I'm not going to say they don't have a chance, but at the end of the day, Colorado's still Colorado. I mean, you can bring Travis Hunter and whoever the heck else you want to, but
Shador Sanders
I mean,
played spectacularly.
right, but you see who they were playing against, and they were
That is
playing
fair.
tight games against those schools. Do I like their chances? Sure. Is Dion a great great coach? Sure. But in the long run, do I see it being super game changing? No, I don't.
Is he a great coach? We've gotten a small sample size. He can recruit. He can recruit with the best of them. I think this will tell us how good of a coach he is with what he does at Colorado.
For sure.
He definitely knows the game. I don't think that's the question, but I agree. It's kind of that I look at culture is huge, first of all, especially when you're going to rebuilding arguably the worst Power 5 program in the entire country. Just have been pitiful for years. And he's coming in and saying the stuff he's saying, and I'm bringing Louis with me, basically telling everyone transfer. I don't want you here. Okay, I understand you had brought players with you and all that, but that's breed negative culture. You're breeding negative culture right off the bat, which I get you're advocating for your new guy for your old guys, but there's still got to be some decent players that are going to have meaningful snaps that were already on the team at some position, whether it's special teams, linemen. Like
Well,
there's got to be something, and now they
they
don't.
they were
They
pretty
don't.
bad.
I mean, yeah, but you're not going to gut the entire. You can only transfer in so many. So ultimately they're going to have old players on the team. And I'm all for, bringing in players that you need. I get it, but I think it's and again, we've never seen him have to make big time coaching decisions, game management at the versus USC or UCLA when a playoff could be on the line. I don't know. I think it'll be interesting.
I'm
For
going to
me, with
disagree
the-
with you when it comes to building culture. I think coming in off the rip and kind of letting everybody know how it's going to be, and basically telling everybody you got to earn your spot here. This isn't like there are guys coming in here that can take your spot and can take it tomorrow. So you better work harder, you better get back in the weight room, you better get back to business or your spot's gone. And I think there's a lot of hate towards that, and I think people are soft. Like I'm just going to be straight up. You got to put the best players on the field to give you a chance to win. Regardless of how your feelings aside. It's irrelevant. His job is to come into Colorado and win football games. That's just how it is. And if he's bringing in 40, 50 guys and the Colorado players can't hang, they can't hang. They got to transfer out. That's on them. So I think he's going to create a winning culture, but I think a lot of the videos that have been coming out recently about sending guys home because they're wearing the wrong color socks, that's building culture. Building unity. Everyone looks the same, dresses the same, wears the same colors. No one should be able to tell you apart. And I think that's a big deal when it comes to creating a winning culture in a program that's been terrible for the last decade.
No, yeah,
Built
I
a lot of
agree.
discipline,
I think I'm honest. I completely agree with what you're saying. I think the biggest thing for me was just his initial press conference. I love the whole earn your spot thing, absolutely, and that I think just for me the initial press conference before he had met any of the players, before he had done anything, he just came and was like, "Get out." They're like, "Okay, you haven't even talked to us. You don't even know me. You haven't let me earn my spot," and you're like, "Get out of here."
Yeah.
But to your point, I didn't really think about that aspect. You have to build that winning culture from day one. You do. That's fair. That's 100% fair.
I mean, it's coming in to like shock the system. I agree with you. He shouldn't. I don't think he should have handled it in that press conference the way that he did. But to come in and just kind of, shock the system a little bit, hey, wake up. Like, we got work to do. You got catching up to do if you want to be a part of this program, or else.
We've been dog ass. We cannot be dog ass anymore.
So I just want to finish off with one more thing on this Colorado thing. First off, they dominated almost everybody they played. They had 2 one-score games all year long. One of them being the game they lost. For the most part, they destroyed their competition. It wasn't even close. And Shedeur Sanders, be it the competition he was playing against, may it, lower level than obviously Power 5 teams are, obviously lower level than Pac-12 is going to be. He had 3,700 yards on 71% completion percentage and 40 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. Those are fantastic numbers, no matter who you're playing against.
Yeah.
Obviously, you mean Jacksonville, not Colorado. Like,
well, yeah, at Jackson State, yes.
Yeah.
Yep, gotcha. Sorry,
But,
Jackson State. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yep.
But obviously, those numbers are still spectacular. If you can even bring 3/4 of that to Colorado, you're going to be successful in some way or another. And Deion being the player that he was as a Hall of Famer and one of the best to ever do it, if not the best corner to ever do it, is going to be able to get these guys up to speed. He's going to be able to teach them things that they don't see as well as he does, because he's one of the best, if not the best, to do it. So
He's played at a level that none of those kids have even seen yet.
no,
They'll be playing.
no.
I would like to think that they'll be playing at a speed much greater than what the other opponents are going to be used to.
Mhm.
So, moving on to the MLB trade deadline,
Mhm.
are there any teams that we think might make a splash before August 6th?
Are we going to see Shohei to LA or no?
Dude, I've been
One can
seeing
only
so
hope.
much stuff about this.
One can only hope.
I just don't know the money. Man's gonna make a bajillion dollars.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I don't know. I hope he does for his career's sake. But then is he gonna think of, okay, well, I'm gonna go to a team that I know is gonna sign me next year. They're gonna give me that 10-year, 500 million plus deal, So I don't know.
I think the most important thing to him right now is winning and being able to compete at the highest level. You
Yeah.
saw him against Team USA. That was spectacular. I mean, truly spectacular. I think there's no doubt he wants to play for a winner, and I think if there's any team that has won more in the past, 10 years, it's the Dodgers. I don't see any other place for him to go. He could go to the Yankees. He could go to the Astros.
Dude, him on the
might not
Yankees
make
would
the
be
playoffs.
disgusting. Oh,
It would be if they could actually compete. For as many
Yeah.
stars as they have, they're struggling every year to do anything.
You
Whereas
wonder
the
why,
Dodgers-
Brant. They sign home run hitters. So
Mhm.
when they're
then
firing,
they get hurt.
they're really good. But they strike
when they're
out
not, they are
80% of the
terrible.
time and they stink.
Yeah.
And they get hurt.
It's just science.
Yes,
It's
they're always
mathematics.
Always.
Speaking
Whereas-
of the Yanks, I saw their trade rumor about Cody Bellinger. Cody Bellinger's kind of been lighting it up, especially compared to what he
Kind
was
of.
the last couple years. And apparently the Yankees are hot on his tail right now. Which I
As
think
are
would
the
be
How do you
Astros.
feel about that as a Cubby fan?
I hate it. Because I want the Cubs to sign him next. Realistically, the Cubs aren't going to sign him because we don't sign good players. Like, we just
Yeah, you trade
we
them.
don't invest our money in them. We just trade them. And I saw Cubs have arguably the most on the trade block right now of any team. I think we have eight legitimate starters between pitchers and position players that are on the trade block right now. We have
Bellinger, Stroman, the 2 biggest names.
two starting pitchers. We have Patrick Wisdom, third base. We got 2 outfielders, and we got 2 bullpen arms. And I'm like, I understand, but after after the whole Rizzo, Bryant, Schwarber thing, I don't know if I can go through another year where I lose the entire roster I've finally somewhat kind of gotten to know again.
I think the Astros might try and steal some of your players.
Stros, I
talk.
could see them going after Stroman.
A lot of talk. They want Stroman and Bellinger.
That's what I saw too.
Do
I
they
wouldn't-
need Bellinger though?
I wouldn't mind
Yes,
if
They need a lefty.
I wouldn't mind if the
they need a
Dodgers
lefty
tried to
bat.
put together a little package for Stroman.
We might as well just go get Shohei. Shohei.
Yeah.
I mean,
That
this-
actually sucks. 'cause
I
I
already
could see
heard.
that.
I already heard talks last year that we were saving up on our money in free agency. It's why we let Trey Turner go. It's why we let Seager go. We want Shohei. And there's obvious reasons. He's the best player in baseball. It's not close.
Yeah.
Not to mention, he wants to win, and he's already in LA. Might as well just move a little bit on up there and go to the team that has won. Little fun fact, since 2013, outside of the COVID-shortened season, the Dodgers have won 91 or more games every season since 2013.
Lights
And
out,
the
baby.
one COVID season we had, we were 43-17 in the 60 games, which is spectacular.
On pace to go crazy.
Shattered records. Yeah. It was a 71% win percentage. It's almost unheard of. So, go Dodgers. Get Shohei.
Go get show.
It just grinds my gear. I hate when the Cubs suck and every other team is good, especially the Dodgers. It's just not fair. It's just not fair. And then we get your old players, and besides Bellinger, we've gotten some of your old players, and they are awful. They don't even perform at all. And I'm like, okay, you were the best player on the team. I feel like for half the year. Now you can't even crack the starting lineup. What's going on now? So frustrating.
We just pass off all of our washed up here. Little hand-me-downs.
He can't jock.
And you
not
get value.
walk,
I think that's the crazy is you get value for him too. You have the perfect system where your AAA team you have consistently one of the best AAA teams in baseball. You have 3-4 guys that could be on the majors and over half the rosters, and you just wait and let them develop. And then he's getting a little
We have the
older.
best
we'll
farm
restrain him.
system in baseball.
It's so annoying. It's so
Definitely up there.
annoying.
We draft well.
I think the only teams that might have better farm systems are the Stros and the Rays.
Yeah, Rays maybe. I think that's up there.
That's really about
Yeah,
it.
that's about it.
You could argue the Yankees or the Giants or teams like that, but the Dodgers prove it every year, every freaking year. So
You know
and
what,
we could put together the biggest package for Shohei. There's no doubt about that.
It's true. An interesting thing I saw: the Reds being buyers at the deadline. I can see it to an extent. They're not going to go and spend money out the yin yang. That's just not what the Reds.
They got to
are.
start saving up to sign Ellie's Supermax.
Dude, he's insane. He's so good. He's so good. But apparently there are trade rumors about Lance Lynn and Giolito from the White Sox trying to get starting pitching, which I'm sure would help. I think the Reds are going to be an anomaly team though, where kind of like that Marlins one-off year where they were good for no reason and they were awful. I don't think this is sustainable success for the Reds personally, but maybe I'm wrong.
Rookie shock and awe. Happened with Yasiel Puig. Happened with what was that guy's name for the Mets? Why am I suddenly forgetting it? That's gonna bother me. Gosh, who was that guy for the Mets?
What year? When?
Oh, it's probably 4 or 5 years ago. Oh my goodness, that is gonna bother me a lot. I'm pretty sure he's an outfielder, but he came in, was smoking the ball, and has just completely fallen off the face of the earth since, just like Yasiel Puig did. Wow, that's gonna bother me.
Yasiel Puig's playing in Mexico, Japan.
Is he on a team somewhere?
Yeah.
He's on a
Very
team somewhere
different
else.
places.
It might be DR.
Yeah, DR.
I think it's in the
How
DR.
many other countries do we know baseball teams?
Yoenis Cespedes.
Oh yes.
Yep.
Yes, he was a 5-tool player. People were like, this guy's gonna be a perennial all-star, and then he's been so bad.
So, Nick, any trades you're looking for here?
Like I said before, I think the Astros make a splash. Don't know if it'll be from Primmy's Cubbies or from a different team. I see them as big buyers at the deadline.
like
Well,
it.
gentlemen, anything else we want to touch on?
I don't think so.
I think we're
I think
good.
we've covered quite a bit today.
I'd like to thank you for watching this podcast. Remember to like, subscribe, comment. We read all comments. And don't forget to check out Shank It Golf. Use code 4BearsSports at checkout for 10% off. Thank you, everyone.